Okay, so I've got a recorded mini lecture for us here, actually two, because I've kind of split them up. And so this one's going to talk about what's going on in the nucleus, and the next one will talk about cell division. So remember, all living things, all parts of the body that are alive, are made up of cells. Cells are the fundamental living unit of the body. Cells have lots of little internal structures. Among the most important for us is the nucleus. So I'm going to talk about things that start in the nucleus, and then I'm going to talk about ribosomes today. So remember, the nucleus is its own little compartment. It has a nuclear membrane that separates it from the rest of the cell. It's connected by pores that allow it to control what goes in and out. And then inside the nucleus is DNA, the hereditary material of cells, which is a long molecule that's made up of repeating units. And these repeating units are called nucleotides. The nucleotides form hydrogen bonds with each other. Adenine nucleotides hydrogen bond with thymine nucleotides, and cytosine nucleotides form hydrogen bonds with guanine nucleotides, and no other types of bonds are formed. And these specific bonds hold the strands together. And so if you know the sequence of one strand, you know exactly what's across from it. And this turns out to be a code for proteins. And three nucleotides perform a code sequence for one amino acid in a protein. And this structure of DNA makes it really easy to copy in an activity called DNA replication, where enzymes unwind the DNA molecule and then another enzyme just adds complementary bases to each strand. Shown here is this kind of orangish blob, that's DNA polymerase, allows the two strands to be copied, so when cells divide. And then the other main activity is protein synthesis, where a RNA copy is made up of the DNA molecule. There it says RNA transcript in green there, that little molecule there. A piece of DNA that's going to make a protein is referred to as a gene, and an enzyme called RNA polymerase, here again shown as a very small orangish molecule, will copy that DNA into RNA. So it'll add complementary nucleotides across from it. Then that RNA copy is sent out into the cytoplasm, where it's translated into a protein. Okay, and this occurs with other RNA molecules bringing amino acids to read the code. And so the lower picture shows this happening. And then a ribosome acts to link these amino acids together. And so the DNA is a code to make proteins, and RNAs are used in that process. And this is how all cells work. All cells do this. It's the main activity of cells. There's some important additional details. Each piece of DNA that's going to be made into a protein is referred to as a gene, and each gene has some little sequence on the front called a promoter, and that tells the enzyme where to work. Sometimes other enzymes work to splice pieces of DNA together to use two sequences of DNA that might be separate and then to make them into one gene. So we can actually make more proteins than we have genes for. Why is this so important? Well, proteins are the most important functional molecules in cells. They can be made into any shape to do almost any job. And so here's another little picture showing all the things proteins do. They contract. They form signal molecules like hormones. They form protection molecules like antibodies, transport molecules like hemoglobin, storage molecules for iron like ferritin, enzymes. They form structural molecules like spider silk or collagen, things like that. So the code of the DNA is made into a protein that folds up into the right shape to do anything. And this is how all cells work. So, to summarize, DNA is stored as a large molecule called a chromosome in the nucleus. The DNA itself is a code that's coded in the sequence of nucleotides or the bases of the nucleotides. And it's very easy to copy this to make an exact copy of the DNA molecule for passing on to new cells or to make RNAs that are used to make proteins. And ribosomes, all cells have ribosomes because those ribosomes are going to be making the protein themselves. So, a really central basic process that all cells do.